Good morning. Thank you very much for coming. We just finished the court hearing with the family. The defendant has pled guilty on all 8 counts, including capital murder. It was emotional and painful for Mr. Mahmoud Hassanen, the father of Nabra Hassanen, and all of us friends of the family and members of the community. We would like to thank very much the prosecutors who did a very good job, and we feel that Nabra will never be forgotten by the Fairfax community, by the Muslim community, by the people who stood for her family, to make sure that justice is served. Mr. Mahmoud would like to say a few things, but he's emotional about it. If he would like to say something, I'll translate for him. But it suffices to say that it was not easy for him to sit and listen to what happened to his daughter on that fateful early morning. It was painful for all of us, and so I'll just ask him to come to say a few words if he would like.
I say Alhamdulillah.
Come closer.
La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah.
You say all praise is due to God, all power is to Him.
Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakeel.
And I surrender my case, my daughter's case, to God the Almighty. And I hope and I consider her to be a martyr in the eyes of God.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much.
All praise to God, and thank you so much.
Sir, in the beginning there was thought, and I know Mr. Hassanen also thought it might have been a hate crime and that he went after her because she had the hijab on. Have you had second thoughts about that or not?
I'm going to do this.
Let me translate.
يا ايوه
هي قالت ان انت في البدايه لان هي كانت لابسه حجاب ان كان جريمه
وما زلت لغايه دلوقتي انا خلي sorry.
He said, you know, he still believes that's the case, but he will let the lawyer answer.
So the collection of information is not done yet. The plea agreement includes a provision that allows the family to ask the defendant directly exactly why he did this, and so that is a question that will continue to be explored as this case progresses.
Sir, what other questions did you plan to ask your daughter's killer?
Today is not the day to kind of explore that other than what we just said. Obviously, the question that causes so much pain is why something so terrible, so horrible would happen to a young Muslim girl practicing her faith in Fairfax County. Why would someone ever do that? And that's what the...
Is he at all disappointed that the death penalty...
The prosecutor made clear, and we affirmed that this outcome is in accordance with the family's wishes. This defendant, on March 28th, we expect will be sentenced to life without parole. He will be imprisoned for the remainder of his days, and that's justice for Nabra.
Would the family like to see some remorse? Would you like to see any kind of a statement from the defendant offering remorse?
What we're looking forward to only and exclusively is that a sentence of life without prison. Life without the possibility of parole be imposed on March 28th. The family looks forward to having that sentence imposed on the defendant.
Mr. Hassanen, how will you remember Nabra? How should others remember her?
I remember her every day, every single. I miss her. It's trouble with my heart. What I can do? Nothing I can do. Nabra, she don't gonna come back again to me. But I never forget her. Never, ever. Just says thank you. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. If there aren't any other questions, there's one more.
I wanted to ask about, we see friends of Nabra here. We know that we saw dozens of people coming to support you. Has that eased your pain at all?
Yeah, most people you don't know about today. Just a close friend.
He chose not to inform the community about this. He just wanted to bring the close friends. But there are many people who do not know about what has taken place.
The community remains behind Nabra's family and remains committed to remembering Nabra. There's been events and efforts to ensure that Nabra's legacy, even though she was only here for 17 years, people remember her and know her across the world, across the country, and that hasn't changed and that hasn't subsided. And I think there's a growing appreciation of just how wonderful of a person that she was while she was here with us. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. That's it. Gadeir Abbas, Gadeir Abbas.
Nihad Awad, Nihad Awad. I'm the Executive Director of CAIR, Council on American-Islamic Relations.
Thank you very
And
much.
Mr. Morrow is going to.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, folks. I'm Ray Morrow, prosecutor on this case, along with my team. Just want to say a few things if I could. I want to thank the Muslim community for the tremendous support they've shown the Hassanen family and the prosecution team and law enforcement in general in both investigating this case and preparing it for trial. CAIR, Committee on American-Islamic Relations, was a tremendous asset to us in helping us to explain to the family the process, and also in working tirelessly to determine whether or not there was any evidence of a hate crime. As counsel indicated, I haven't uncovered evidence yet, but I always wait until all the evidence is in, and there will be other information, and that is an important aspect of the case to run down. Today is a very sad day. Obviously, my heart is with the Hassanen family and Nabra today. I've met so many wonderful people from the Adams Center, CAIR, and the Muslim community during the course of this case, and it's obviously been a heartbreaking situation for everybody. We will never forget Nabra. We reached this plea agreement after lengthy consultation with the Hassanen family, their attorneys. We're willing to try the case. However, it's important to understand that capital litigation is very complex. Just last night I got notice that a case I tried 9 years ago got reversed by the Fourth Circuit. Hopefully we'll fight that up to the Supreme Court. But these cases are tremendously complex. The trial would have taken months and the appeals would have gone on for at least a decade. And the family wanted some closure and put this to an end and go about the rest of their lives and honoring Nabra's memory. It was an honor and a privilege to work with this family, and they have my deepest sympathies always.
Ray, this case this crime really stands out in its viciousness and seemingly kind of randomness. Could you speak to that?
You know, that's the thing. We talked about it upstairs after the hearing. You know, you just want to know why, but some people just do wicked and evil things sometimes, and I don't know that we'll ever know why in this life, but yeah, this crime stood out as just a very horrific and brutal crime. We did work with defense counsel and shared the information with the Hassanen family and their attorneys with respect to the defendant's background, and they did a good job. We're fortunate in Northern Virginia to have great defense attorneys, and that was a team of excellent lawyers who did a heck of a job, and they brought us information that we could factor in reaching this decision collectively to take this action. I don't know that there's any comfort here for anybody, but life without parole is nothing, is not a light sentence. And there are no winners here, but there is a tremendous, there are a tremendous amount of people who worked hard, and we'll never forget Nabra and honor her memory.
How unusual is it the provision that will allow the Hassanen family to question directly? Have you done that before in cases?
I've had it happen rarely. It's rare, but this is just such a random attack on such a lovely young person, you know, practicing her faith. It's just shocking, and I won't speak for the family or presume to, but I know they must be just searching for why our daughter, why such a lovely, innocent, kind, religious person. I hope something comes out of that part of the agreement, but it was important to the Hassanens, and so we put it in there. We worked with the attorneys as well on that, and so I hope that will bring some information that they can at least hang on to. But I've never seen a good murder, but this one's worse than most.
Ray, the defense team said in court today that an evaluation showed that the defendant's IQ was 68 or less.
Right.
Was there a question in this case whether you could have even pursued the death penalty given the standard for mental capacity?
That would have been a hotly litigated issue in the case, because under the current law, and for good reason, it's not legal, let's say, to give the death penalty to someone who's intellectually disabled. And what you have to understand that, you know, that's the defense side, that's their expert. Had this case gone to trial, we would have gotten an independent expert, and we would have worked to explore that. And if it was true, that would definitely affect my decision. I wouldn't pursue a death penalty against someone who was truly intellectually disabled. But you know, we would litigate that, but we did factor it in.
What's the standard in Virginia right now for mental capacity and the death penalty?
Well, it's a combination of adaptive functioning and IQ. It's kind of a complex formula, and things like the Flynn effect come into it, which can raise or lower the threshold. So that's not an easy question, and that would probably have been the most complex issue for the jury in this case, is determining that. We went through that with Alfredo Prieto and others. Experts can disagree on one's intellectual functioning, and often do.
In general, on death penalty, you mentioned the Lawler ruling yesterday.
Right.
A few months ago in Prince William, there was a cop killer where
right.
the jury split dead even.
Right.
Some of the issues here, as a practical matter going forward, I mean, as you look at what you have to do to put death penalty cases forward, as a practical matter, is that viable going forward?
Excuse me. Yes. Great question. It is definitely very, very difficult to prosecute capital murder cases, and especially when you're seeking the death penalty. It's hard to predict what's going to happen. You can follow every law in the book, as I did in the Lawler case, and then a Fourth Circuit will overrule the entire Virginia Supreme Court. Obviously, I respect all judges and their opinions, but it is very difficult. But as long as that's the law, and if people come to this county and rape and murder women, they're going to face the death penalty if I can prove it, and I think it's appropriate.
Did you find you at one point were trying or thinking about putting evidence in that this defendant might have been a member of MS-13? Did you ever explore that more fully and determine whether he was in fact a member of MS-13?
There was some chatter about that. A relative thought he had been involved at one time, but we had no real hard evidence that he was a MS-13 gang member. Now, there was MS-13 gang graffiti down in the area where Nabra was murdered, but it doesn't prove he's in the gang. You know, there's a lot of graffiti around, so. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.